Today podcast. Joining us on another Friday morning, early here in Michigan. Still, it's getting light out now. But super excited in studio today. I have Denise Mansfield from Mansfield Insurance Group. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Absolutely, it's an early morning.
Yeah, it's okay. Entrepreneurs aren't supposed to wake up this early, so I'm not sure what.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. That's kind of the draw.
Yeah, and it's as many people I have on. The consensus is the same. Like, can you just
not at 7:30 p.m. It's okay.
But I will tell you this: we have listeners on from California.
Oh, okay.
So it's 4:30 in the morning there.
Yeah, we're winning then. We're winning.
Yeah, we are winning for sure. So yeah, so Denise Mansfield, Mansfield Insurance Group. So just introduce yourself. Tell us what goes on. How long have you been doing insurance?
This is my 14th year.
Wow.
And 8 owning my own agency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, and you've seen a lot of things.
Yeah, sure have. But I've been a part of a lot of big things, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And one of the things that really is cool is you're involved a lot with realtors.
Yes.
Like you do a ton of stuff with realtors, which if we were to ask some realtors about homeowners insurance, I don't know what they would say.
My clients that are real estate agents would, but outside of that, no, they don't.
Yeah. It's strange, right? Because it's such an important piece of the transaction, really.
Can't get to the closing table without me.
Right. It's amazing. And no one again, it goes back to real estate agents and like knowing if I polled real estate agents and said, who's your insurance person? They would say, what do you mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because when I'm working with someone, I ask them like, who's your insurance person? And if they do not know their name right off the bat, I know that they'll be mine.
But see, that's the thing. And that's a key piece of advice for people on the call and watching is you talk to people. And so I think about it as if I flip that onto the real estate side of things, if I talk to people and they don't have a realtor, well, they're going to be mine.
Right.
Right. And
so same for me.
Yeah. Incredible. So 14 years total in the business and 8 on your own.
Yes.
What was that leap like?
I was in an environment where they wanted me to cold call and buy leads. They didn't believe in the long game of relationship building. And I didn't like the environment. I thought that insurance could be done better. And I knew that I had the skill set to do that. So I left everything I knew and started over, and with a 2-year non-compete because I stayed in the industry. And actually, my dad was my first client 8 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that conversation?
It was interesting because I came from insurance, but I was never competitive enough and to offer him a proposal that made sense for him to move. And then when I came over here, right away, he was my first person I tried and it worked. And I thought, okay, that, because it's not all about the dollar, but it has a lot to do with the dollar.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Right.
Especially when you have an office and.
Yeah. So I started with nothing and now we have the number 1 agency in the Southeast. We're probably number 3 in the whole company. I have a team of 5 and we write about 70 home and autos a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of business.
It is a lot of business. Yeah, we do a really good job.
And especially with so Michigan, I feel like we miss out on a lot of the weather stuff, right? Like we're pretty lucky.
Well, until this year has been a little.
Yeah, this year's been weird, right? A lot of water.
A lot of wind and hail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy because you don't realize how much you need insurance until you need it.
And then it's too late.
Yes.
That's like I always say, like when you're in the back of the ambulance, forget about it. Or you can't put insurance on a burning building. Like you have to be proactive.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is for all of you too that own a home. 20 years ago, my garage burned down. So I have a detached garage. Well, 20 years ago, I was also 30. You know what I mean? Like, so we didn't really know, what do you mean? Like we had insurance and but then the insurance company was like, okay, you need to give us a list of everything that was in the garage.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
I got to remember everything that was in the garage.
I mean, yes and no, but now with like our smartphones, I tell people like, go around and do a quick video, take some pictures. We send them to us. We can just upload them into your, digital file. I mean, it might help you for itemizing because unfortunately you do have to itemize.
Yeah. And that was one thing I was going to say. I think that's a great tip for realtors is to provide that information to your clients.
Yeah.
Right?
Once you get moved in, once you make this house your home, take 5 minutes and do a quick inventory. And it doesn't have to be on a pen and paper. Do a video. Keep receipts for huge purchases.
Yeah.
So,
and you'll hold all those videos for everybody. And
I mean, yeah, we have, everybody we're paperless.
okay.
So everybody has a file. And so that's an easy, drag and drop, if you will.
Okay.
And yeah, we can keep it.
That's incredible. What a great service, right? Like, just because you can do that.
We can.
The technology.
Yeah.
Because everything's cloud-based now, right?
Everything. I mean, I still have to print every once in a while and hold some paper because I'm just old school.
Right.
Yeah.
I get that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that part. Like, how many trees do we have to kill when we do a closing?
Right. Oh yeah. That's a whole thing. Yeah.
I
you should be like the tablets. Like when you go lease a car, the tables are a big tablet. Have you leased a car recently?
I have, but they didn't have that.
Okay. So my dealership has a table you sit at and the whole thing lights up and it's one massive tablet. The table you sit at.
Really?
And all of your signatures, all the reviewing, all the initials is done on that. It's very cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like that would be a great for a closing.
A closing.
Yeah. Because you are, although I don't know what's worse, leasing a car or buying a house, like as far as signatures go.
It's pretty close.
Yeah,
It's pretty close.
But I can go get an insurance. I can get insurance and like 3 signatures and I'm done, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, there's not. Yeah, and only one of you. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, what is in your eyes perfect scenario? Like, what if again? So it kind of goes back to like the thing of when we're 30, like we don't pay attention to any of this stuff. It doesn't resonate with us until we're in our 50s, and then it's too late, and then we're playing catch up, and then our insurance rates are higher because we're older. But like, what would be your advice to somebody in their 20s or 30s just getting into like buying a house, like a new homeowner, newly married, like whatever on the insurance side?
I mean, I hate to say it, but I do want to put a little onus on the professionals that help these young first-time home buyers to help lead them to resources that are going to give them like more than just help on their piece of the transaction. A real estate agent often picks, the inspector. Sometimes they pick their lender. Oftentimes they pick their title company, but they're not helping their client get into the hands of the professional that's going to help them protect the biggest investment. Like, this is everything they have. And I'm probably going to stick with the client the longest, right? Because title is a one and done. The lender might sell the loan. The inspector will never see the client again, but I will be there with them through vehicle changes and when a baby gets born and when the husband decides to open up a small business or if they have a storm that comes through. And so by them connecting them, a young first-time home buyer with me, we get the ornate ability to explain to them what they have, what they don't, and to empower them as they live in their home and as they make changes or upgrade, or to help them understand triggers for when you need to call us, what to look out for. And I think that real estate agents have a really unique ability in that relationship to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you got a lot coming at you, but we have to make sure that if your worst day happens, we take care of this. And I've got a great person to help you with that. And I think that that's the perfect scenario.
I love that. And again, it's another piece of service.
Yeah.
And I've had a bunch of guests on it, and it's funny. The thing is, it's client service, right? And it's taking care of people at a high level because this is the biggest transaction that they're ever going to have.
And if you do that well, like, so they say like the top 5 most pivotal moments that will happen in someone's life: death, divorce, buying a home, moving. It's in the top 5. So you literally got into a career to help people with one of the most critical things that they will ever go through in their life. I mean, if you think about it, that's a really big undertaking.
Yeah.
And you don't just your job is not to do one transaction. It is to help them when they buy the seasonal next year or when their daughter gets ready to buy a house. So you really have to kind of go the extra mile.
Yeah. And again, too, I just had an agent ask me yesterday, hey, is now a good time to reach out to my past clients? I'm like, every day is a good day to reach out to your past clients. But we were talking about the rate drop, right? Which was funny because it negatively affected the mortgage rate.
Yeah.
Everybody was so pumped about it. And then the interest rates went up. The mortgage interest rates went up.
Yeah.
Right. But the federal interest rate went down. And there were so many people confused about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I said it's always a great time to reach back out to your client, right? And I think the insurance piece is another reason to reach back out to your client,
Sure could.
right? And
Absolutely.
just have that conversation and be like,
Yeah.
hey, have you had your insurance looked at recently?
Yeah, like now, hey, you're a year in. So what we do, so all of my lenders and real estate agents that give us an opportunity to work with their buyers, if we close that account on their first annual, like in their new home, we send them a card with their house on the front. And we say, we hope that your house feels more like home every day. And we actually put a checklist on the inside of the card, like, have you finished the basement? Did you put an alarm in? Did you add a hot tub? And so we're helping them remember some of the things that, we kind of talked about when they were drinking from a fire hose when they first started the process, But again, we're touching your client. So like, yes, you should touch your client, but then also when you're working with the right people, we're going to help touch your client for you. So there's just a ton of power that is not being used.
I love that so much. Only because again, it's staying on top of mind with people.
Yeah.
And if you don't, someone else will.
I mean, literally, we're all replaceable. I hate to say it. So yeah, we have to be.
Yeah, we always joke and say that realtors have shiny object syndrome, but I think humans have shiny object syndrome.
I am a squirrel, and there is something hit the sun, and I'm like,
yeah,
that's entrepreneurship. Though.
It is, and I don't feel like you can live as an entrepreneur without that.
I would be worried to stifle that ability to pivot and change my head 100 times. I think that's what makes me good.
Yeah, 100%. They did a study. NAR did a study on real estate agents, and they said something like 87% of real estate agents have some form of ADD or ADHD. I think the number is actually higher.
Yes,
because they've had them fill out a survey, and if you had anybody with ADD or ADHD try to fill out a survey,
they can't. They actually leave it
blank.
They only give past their name.
They get through a guy. I do the same thing. I start to fill out the survey, win $1,000, fill out the survey, and I start to fill it out, and I'm like,
they turn it over and draw a picture.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck is going on. So on the insurance piece so you do everything. Okay.
So home, auto, life, and commercial.
Okay. Now, is it like, are you like a broker? Is it like, how is that? What does that piece look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I proudly own a Michigan Farm Bureau. So that is a single state operation company. However, I have alternate carriers that are independent, if you will. And then on the commercial side, I'm as independent as an independent. So I have a captive role and an independent role.
Okay.
On the same agency.
So commercial insurance as well.
Oh, yeah. And I have 50 carriers for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, real estate agents. These are things you need to know.
Yeah, because, sometimes you're helping a small business owner. I mean, and you get that unique ability to know what these people do for a living, right? Because again, there is a little bit of a uniqueness when you're an entrepreneur trying to get your mortgage and stuff, right? So the lender and the real estate agent, they know really intimate details about the client. And so we actually can help a family, and we have lots of families that we have all their commercial insurance, their family's life insurance, and then their home and auto. We do it all under one umbrella.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So cool. And again, like, you do so much with real estate agents and support, and hopefully they're supporting you back.
Yes.
Because we have a tendency not to do that. But anyway.
Well, you know what? It doesn't need to be tick for tat. And to your point, like, they think of me, I help their clients, and then, I, in return, because I'm the end of the transaction or towards the end, right? So I don't have that unique ability where I'm getting calls every day saying, oh, I'm moving. I don't find out until the end, right? So they're already like set in that way. So I am a big supporter of the local charities that are attached to real estate agents and other things that are important to them. I think I hit my $10,000 mark in the last 3 years to Children's Miracle Network.
Okay.
And so like, if you're a brokerage or you're an individual real estate agent and we work together and you've got important initiatives in your community, that's how I help you give back.
Okay. And what would you say is the most important thing that a realtor, like, how does that handoff work? Like, if a realtor were to say, if they were to actually ask about insurance, and who they were getting insurance through, what would that handoff look like for you? Like, what would the perfect scenario be for you?
I mean, I want what they're comfortable with, but if they need coaching on what that looks like, a warm text introduction works fantastic. A warm email introduction, or, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you've got a million calls to make. Can I take one off your plate? Can I have my insurance team reach out to you? And I have the manpower to be able to call Mr. and Mrs. Smith and say, hey, you know, Jane, your real estate agent, thought highly enough to make sure you're all set. Can we help you with what that looks like? And then we take it from there.
Okay. So again, taking more off of our plate.
Yeah.
As realtors. And it's funny what the more conversations I have with our support, right? Like, and like I said, when we started, I feel like insurance is probably the one realtors forget about the most. Mortgage, we have to have it to start anything. Like, we're not going to take anybody out unless they have a pre-approval, right? But I feel like we skip over the insurance part, which in the long run is probably the most important thing that they're going to be getting.
You know, a lot of real estate agents leave it up to the lender. And I say, don't leave being a shining star and adding to your team and showcasing your client your complete connector abilities to the lender. I mean, why pass that buck?
Yeah.
Take initiative. Create a team and a career. And when you are looked at like a connector, you are held to a higher level. People trust your opinion. You build really solid rapport. And so I say, don't pass that buck to anybody. Do it yourself.
I love that. Yeah. Why put it in somebody else's hands?
Yeah. Be the hero.
Yeah. So what's the strangest claim?
Oh,
we're gonna have to get into a couple claims because I just want to hear. It's like my garage burning down was not that interesting. You know what I mean?
I would have to say that most of the time the claims are pretty status. I mean, so in Michigan, hail and wind is the number one claim.
Okay.
Followed by water. But strange claims, I mean, we get on the auto side, we do get certain wires in cars have like a soy coating, and we get rodents that will chew through them all and destroy all the wires in a car. Brand new cars that are sitting in a garage overnight. That's a real, that's a problem. I don't know. We don't get a lot of strange ones.
Come on.
I mean, I don't.
No? What would be, all right, so let's clarify that. What is strange?
Usually the things that aren't covered. I mean, to be dead honest, usually the things that are not covered. Like the strange things are when we take down walls in a house and they're full of beehives, right? That's never covered. Animals and rodents are in a home are never going to be covered, which is a tough one.
Oh man, so there's no coverage on that.
Okay, so let me clarify. I have a strange one that brings up a good point.
Okay, good.
So unless you don't let them in. So there is a clause that says you cannot let in animals or rodents, meaning you can't have deterioration. You can't have holes, gaps in your foundation, in your home to let things in. We have had deer that have jumped through the front glass window in a home, cut themselves up and destroyed the inside of the house before it jumped back out. That would probably be the strangest claim. Happened in MLA City. That is covered because the client did not let them in. It actually jumped through the front glass window.
So a whole deer
just
jumped through the glass window.
That is correct. And cut itself on the way in and ran around like a crazy person. And it looked like a crime
murder scene. Yeah,
absolutely. So that actually,
but that was covered.
Yes.
But like, so the rodent thing so you've had the bees in the wall.
That's not covered. Bats in your attic, bees, raccoons. I mean, unfortunately, no. So good home maintenance, right? So having that great home inspector, but then also your home is your priority. Home maintenance is your priority. And there are going to be times where you're going to have to spend money to maintain your home.
Yeah.
And you have to have a good sense of what to look for. Do perimeter checks. I tell people when it's raining, get an umbrella and go outside. See where your water's pooling. See how your gutters are responding. You have to have an idea because not everything is covered. And if it is covered, you got a deductible. It's a pain in the butt to deal with the contractors. You're going to have a claim which is going to follow you for 3 years, no matter where you go.
Right.
So do your best to try to maintain the integrity of your house. And then for the big accident and sudden, we will be here and we'll take care of it all.
That's incredible. And again, it goes back to the advice you're giving. And it's always a good time for agents to reach back out to their clients and talk to them about insurance and talk to them about like grabbing an umbrella and going outside the next time it rains.
Yeah. I mean, if you do a newsletter to your clients or put together an email and say, hey, and we know this Michigan weather's been wild. We're approaching a new season. Make sure that good fall maintenance with clearing your leaves will avoid winter problems as it pertains to the house. Like you could easily work with someone like me or grab some knowledge and talk about the integrity of your house and about showing that you care about it and throw it in a newsletter, throw it in a quick email, make a quick phone call. I mean, who's going to be mad about that? No one.
No one.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And they're never going to expect it from you. And they're going to be like, huh, they're going to be sitting there later having a beer and they're going to say, you know who called me today? Jimmy called me. You know what he said? Make sure we clean our damn gutters. And you're right. We're about that time. And I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah. And again, that's one of the things that I coach a lot of agents too, right? So that's one of the things that I'm always trying to come up with. And I think this is huge for agents, like another way to reach out to provide value outside of like, do you want to sell your house? So being able to provide that value and working with someone in the insurance industry is just provide so much more in-depth caring in a sense.
Yeah. Because again, you only sold them their house 2 years ago. They're not moving, but you don't know that their best friend isn't looking or their daughter's not ready. And so you connecting with them and organically connecting with them. I always say be a resource, not a sales pitch. I think that's super important. And that those touches are nice.
Be a resource, not a sales pitch. I love that. So I'm coming up with t-shirt ideas.
Okay.
So every show has been something. So be a resource, not a sales pitch. That might be a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You better hashtag Mansfield.
We'll see if we come up with some sort of advertising for Mansfield
right?
Insurance Group on that one. Yeah. But no, I think that what you're saying is so important because we are always looking for another reason to reach out to our clients, whether they're past clients or future clients, but we're always looking for a reason to reach out to them and provide them with some sort of value. The insurance piece is that value. And working with someone like you that does the follow-up, that does the touches, that does all the things, that sends out the postcard with the, did you check this? Right now, do you do that? Do you do that seasonally?
So for our brand new home buyers, we do that for them on their first year in the house. But I will tell you that we send out something probably twice a year, and then we're talking to our clients a lot. We are very heavy service.
Wait a minute, you're what? You're talking to your clients?
A lot.
You actually call them?
We do. We call them. So we have a claims concierge service. So if you do find yourself in a claim, we have a member of my staff that helps you navigate what that looks like as you've maybe never had one. The adjuster can take a little bit of time to get in touch with you, especially if it has been bad weather. And so we want you to rest assured that we understand we're a resource to help. We really do live in that extra mile at Mansfield.
I love that.
Yeah.
And you call your clients.
We do.
Wow. I just never thought of that.
I know.
Realtors, listen, call your clients, have a conversation with them.
Yes.
But again, it always goes back to client service because to your point too, and I'm going to throw this back at you. So to your point, as a realtor, I'm getting them in the home. I want their sister, brother, or whatever to use me as a realtor again. How do you stay in front of them? Because their brother or sister is going to need insurance at some point too. So is it just the follow-up, the calls twice a year? Like, how does that work for you?
Most of my realtor partners will send me at least 50 to 70% of some of them, all of the people that they talk to and work with. So then our clients, once they become our clients, we have a follow-up after we write someone. So about 60 days after we close an account, we send them a handwritten card and we tell them in it that we hope that they're as lucky as we are to have met them. And we give them $1 scratch a flattery ticket. And we tell them we're a referral only agency. If you appreciated the interaction that we had, you've got a friend or family member, either now or in the near future, that could use a really good insurance review or we are here for you. We throw a few business cards in there. I mean, it does take time to do. The ROI is ridiculous.
Yeah. On a dollar scratch off.
Yeah.
People love dollar scratch
They
offs.
do. Listen, yes. And I think it's also, I don't want to ask for a referral in the moment of us doing business together. I want to earn the opportunity. I want all of our transaction to have gone well. I want you to have all of your paperwork. And before you forget that you just saved a bunch of money or that you feel all protected and that you're all set with us, we say to you, hey, thank you again. And please, if you know anyone. And that's when it feels right to us and it works really well.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that so because it's one of the things that we miss probably on the real estate side too, is asking for the referral and when to ask for the referral.
It feels really chachi to me to do it during the referral. I was trained that you're supposed to ask at the closing of your meeting for the name, a number of 3 friends or family that I could help. I'm never doing that, ever. So I think you need to find what works for you and what you're comfortable with. Because if it's not organic, if it doesn't feel like you're actually doing this with benevolence, it's going to come off awful and it's never going to work and there's going to be no ROI.
Yeah, that's an old sales trick, right? That was taught for a long time in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Of asking for the business in the middle of the conversation,
Yeah.
and 3 people that you would that was an old sales tactic.
We need to earn the opportunity.
Yes. And I feel personally, I'm in the same boat as you. I personally feel that I ask for the referral either at closing or the day after close, a good follow-up call, right? You've been in the house for a month, 30 days. Hey, how are things going? What's going on? Now I can say, do you got 3 friends or family members that are looking for a house or insurance or plumbers or whatever you're looking for? But I also say to real estate agents, find an insurance person, Denise, and that will work with you, because that support is so needed and most people don't know they need it.
Yeah.
And they're especially new homeowners, young kids that are just getting into that are just buying their first home. They have no idea. I've had to talk to them about hot water tanks. They don't know what a hot water, like,
where's the shutoff valve?
Yeah.
What happens if water just starts? Yeah. All kinds of things.
We ruin our kids is the problem.
We do everything for them and then we send them out in the world and they don't know anything.
Yeah. They're like, what do you mean a hot water tank? Like, just hot water. You just turn the hot water on, right? I said, well, yes.
It comes from a magical tank that gets heated by gas in the basement. But to your point, it's generational. It's not just the 20-year-olds that are getting their first house that don't understand it.
No.
There is a lack of insurance knowledge and education, and that's generational. So, it's not so much the kids' fault. The parents hardly don't even understand what they have. So I'm really trying to change the way people look at use insurance and value it in a completely different way, because to your point, you do not know what you have or don't have until the day you need it. And it's too late to change it then.
It is. And trust me, like I said, my garage burned down 20 years ago. And I know it's 20 years because my son is 20. And we had just had his baptism over the weekend 20 years ago. And we were going to sleep one night and he was sleeping. So I think he was 3-4 weeks old, maybe. And the phone rings. And my immediate thought was, who the
is going to wake my baby up?
12 o'clock at night. Like, who is calling the house right now? Like, what? And at the time, it was 20 years ago, it was the house phone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's loud. So my wife answers the phone and, you're waking up, the baby's sleeping, and we're trying to figure out. But as I rolled out of my bed, I could see through his window and I could see the garage on fire in the backyard. So I immediately got him up, sent her to her mom's because her mom was like 10 minutes from us. But I'm like, just go. Then me not being smart either and not realizing what was happening. Like the garage, so there's a fail in the garage door opener. I don't know if you probably know this in your insurance. So if it's too hot in there, it automatically opens.
Actually, I did not know that.
So there's a safety
Okay.
feature on the garage door
fantastic.
opener that if there's a fire in there and it gets too hot, it automatically opens because you'd be stuck
Fair.
in the garage. But what it also does is it sucks in all the oxygen to that fire. So I was trying to get, somebody had gotten us a wagon for his baptism. So I was trying to get this wagon out of the garage. I don't know why. It was way too hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was way too hot. So, but so I say all that to say that then the next day, the fire department sent their inspector out to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
But it was a garage. So there was gas cans and propane
Sure.
tanks, and he's like, I can bring a dog out, but it's not really going to matter because it is what it is. But the insurance process for us was weird because we had to, again, make a list of everything that was in there. And then, there was a claim. There was two claims because there's a claim on the building and then a claim on the contents.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Right?
Should have been one.
No, there was two. So that again, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So technically that would all fall under one.
Okay.
Your other structures on your home policy. There's two coverages, but one claim.
Okay.
So you got property and property, right? But one claim.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It probably.
It was 20 years ago.
Yeah, fair.
But
Fair.
And also we were 30 with a baby, like a brand new baby. So my wife and I are like, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah. It's a good thing you didn't have your car in the garage.
Well,
because that would have been for sure two claims,
right.
A home claim and an auto claim.
The funny thing is they questioned us about that because the cars weren't in the garage.
Oh.
So we got that question from the fire department.
Yeah.
Well, why weren't your cars in the garage? And we had the baptism, so there was tables and chairs in there.
Oh, fair enough.
So I'm like, well, there was, yeah. But that whole debacle of then they're rebuilding it and this, all doing all the things and we had to take two trees that we lost like two trees in the front. It melted and it's a detached garage. I'm still in the same house, but it was a detached garage, but the molding around my back door, my sliding door was all melted.
Yeah. From the heat.
Yeah.
We have people that barbecue up against their side of their house. And if the barbecue catches fire, which sometimes will happen, they'll melt the siding up there. That's, I guess, kind of another weird claim. That happens.
Is that covered?
Yeah.
But wait a minute.
We do cover stupidity.
Yes.
Not all stupidity, but most stupidity.
Something totally out of my control, like bees deciding to build a castle in my walls, is not covered. But if I'm dumb enough to put my grill against my vinyl siding and it melted all, that's covered.
Yeah. That's a whole nother day, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother. It's just so funny to me because I look at that like there's things out of my control. Bees, I can't control bees. Like there's no. And then I think I'm bringing up the bee thing because it would. My wife is going to watch this and panic about bees in her wall.
Oh,
because she's afraid of bees, and so yeah, she got stung a bunch when she was a kid.
Oh, yep.
She fell in she had a wool sweater on, but the bees were like stuck in the wool sweater and she was like 7.
That sounds traumatic.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
So bees now are like not her jam.
No,
but so the insurance piece though on a claim like that, when you guys reach out, would you? So the reason I'm asking this is like the home warranty idea. Mm-hmm. Right, home warranty is different than homeowners insurance.
I had a client once that said, "Oh, I don't need home insurance. I bought that home warranty. We should be all set." And I was like, "Ooh, that home warranty did not get explained to you properly."
I only spent $600. It's fine. Oh my gosh. I'm covered.
Yeah. I'm like, if your microwave dies, you're good. If your house burns down, you're SOL. Yeah. You need me.
Yes. But people don't know that. They don't distinguish that.
Yes.
And that's hard because I have had people say that to me. If I get this home warranty, I don't need home insurance. I'm like, no, it's two separate things.
Yes.
Two separate things. And so if there is a claim, because the home warranty people will do, if they get a claim through the home warranty, they'll usually hit me up if I had helped sell the home warranty to reach out and say, hey, so-and-so's hot water tank, whatever. So it's a good reach out point for me.
Yeah.
Is that something you guys do on the insurance side for you too?
No, I'm never going to probably reach out to the client or to the agent rather and say, hey, your client just had a flood in their basement. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And I don't know why we don't do that. I don't want
to just started something.
I mean, yeah, we could. I would never want the real estate agent to ever feel like maybe like, did they miss something? Like, I don't know if that could be taken out of context
Sure.
at all, possibly.
Yeah.
So, no, I haven't done that, but that wouldn't, if it was something like a house fire or something really devastating, I might, but I haven't ever done that yet. But that actually does bring up a good point.
So I'm here for it.
It's the only kind you have, right? Good ideas.
In my mind, yes.
Yeah.
That's why I talk to myself. It's the only way I get good answers.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I saw this thing on Facebook that said, if you see me talking to myself, I'm having a team meeting. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur or something. Like,
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. If you see us walking around just talking to ourselves, just leave
we're
us
in a
alone.
meeting.
Yeah, we're in a meeting
with ourselves.
Yeah. Because no one else is going to sit for long enough to hear
Correct.
what we're saying.
No.
Yeah. So what's the future look like? So let me ask you this. 2020,
Yeah.
COVID, all that. How did that affect the insurance industry?
So COVID, aside from being devastating to businesses because there is no coverage for a wipeable communicable disease like COVID, right? So
Of course not.
yes, and that was written into policies prior, and I don't think that will ever change. And quite frankly, I don't know if the insurance industry could have gotten themselves out of the mass amount of business income loss that could potentially come from that.
Yeah, I mean, now that you say that, like, I mean, how many businesses do you insure?
A lot.
Just you,
Yes. Right?
It-
That had issues.
that had issues. It would have been devastating the insurance industry.
Correct. So aside from that, actually, that wasn't even as big of a deal as at the same time that all that was happening, auto reform happened in Michigan. And auto reform is the biggest change in the auto insurance program in 40 years. That completely changed policy language for every single person. And now they had all these options and there were all these things, and people that have Medicare, it used to be excluded and now it's included. So now you've got an entire sector of people, just Medicare alone, that have zero idea what's going on. Unfortunately, our politicians and other people made comments and said things on public forums that were not true or were not going to be true. And they were talking about our industry in a way that they didn't have the real knowledge to back up. So it created some panic and confusion. And so during the middle of COVID, while we're trying to balance all of the highs and lows and emotions about just what's happening in our life, auto reform hit. In fact, I actually was on Mackinac Island when the bill got signed, not because I was in support of, but I just happened to be there. It was for a big policy conference. And that is what changed that is what changed insurance in Michigan during COVID more than probably anything else, specifically for Michigan.
Interesting. So the government put in policies and changed a bunch of stuff and created a bunch of panic.
Yeah.
Kind of like NAR.
Can't
right?
imagine.
Can't imagine. Weird how that happens. So yeah, and I thought, and now that we're hashing this out too, how did that auto reform policy, now that that's settled, right? And it's been 4 years now does everybody still know what that means or no?
I mean, so yes and no. It's still a work in progress because part of it was fee schedules for hospitals that, if you hurt yourself on a Saturday and need an MRI, let's say it's $3,000. If you got hurt in a car accident, they were charging us $12,000. So we as companies, as insurance companies everywhere, especially here in Michigan, we're not able to stay on top of addressing the right amount of premium to stay competitive in the market, to ward off the no fee structure, just like endless amount of things that hospitals could charge for something because it was related to a car accident, because they just thought we had these like endless pockets. So auto reform has changed a bunch of things. We're still working through and getting through that, back on top of a fee schedule so that we can kind of all get back to normal. I do see a trend that by 25, 26 probably realistically, I think we'll see some reduced auto rates. And I think we'll also see that home insurance kind of settle down a little bit. That labor and material issue during COVID, we're just kind of getting out of, honestly.
Okay.
Because and then natural disasters, if you've got 15 hurricanes and they need all the lumber right?
Yeah.
Can only make so much lumber as a country, right? So it goes there. 2x4 used to be $2.38, and now it's $8.68. I mean, think about what that does to insurance costs if we have to rebuild your house.
Trust me, you see me just build my son's bed. You saw that video. It was supposed to be cheaper than the other way.
Nope, you could have went to Gorman's.
Oh yeah, man. But we had fun building it together.
Yes.
You can't replace that. But so there's so much to this and to unpack in the insurance side that we don't know about. And even that for us that have been in the industry for a long time, figuring things out on the insurance side. What's the most important coverage, do you think? Now I know that's a broad question, right? But if I'm a first-time home buyer, if I'm helping out a first-time home buyer, what's that conversation like with you in the home buyer? Like where are you putting them kind of in what coverage and all that kind of thing are you putting them in?
So what a lot of people don't know is that home insurance is the main coverage is based off replacement cost, like I just mentioned. So it's not market value. It's not what you bought the house for. It's not what you could sell it for. So sometimes when I'm working with a new home buyer, they're like, well, we only paid, $275 for the house. Why are you telling me it's $390 to rebuild? Why am I paying for so much more insurance? So I explain where that comes from. We use a replacement cost estimator to put all the attributes in the house. So it spits out what it would cost us to rebuild that home. We go through what that looks like with the client. We ask them questions about, are you going to refinish the basement right away? Or what are you going to be putting down there so we can make sure we've got the adequate water backup? Do you have a pool in that backyard? Oh, you have a pool? Oh, and you have a dog? Okay, so here's another coverage that we can add because you've got a lot of additional liabilities exposures. Let's make sure we protect all your assets. Let's get you a personal umbrella because if somebody drowns in your pool, whether or not you invited them over or they broke in, you're liable, right? So we talk about what that looks like. And then we always talk about the life insurance piece. Most couples are getting qualified on their mortgage for both parties, right?
Right.
2 working families. We are a 2 working family society for the most part. And most people don't have more than 3 to 6 months in the bank. They could have used up most of that to get into this house. So we got a young family that just bought their biggest investment and they have very little money left. What happens if something happens to one of them? So we always talk about how do we protect that mortgage. We explain the difference between protecting the mortgage through mortgage protection insurance and what we can do with term insurance. And we have a conversation with, for $16 a month, we can give you $250,000 for the next 20 years so that if anything happens, your mortgage is taken care of. And these young people are just like, wow, thank you. I didn't even know what I didn't know. And the discounts for all the stuff makes it so it almost pays for itself. And we've got a young couple who is either had started their family or is planning on starting their family with all these things in place. So if the poop hits the fan, they literally are going to be all set. That is something that a real estate agent can hang their hat on. That is something we hang our hat on. And it's just so powerful. It changes generations for people. It's generational changes for people. If you have to move out of your house because you didn't have the right coverage and you had to move to a smaller house in a less desirable neighborhood, your kids are getting not such a great school, they're maybe having less opportunities. I mean, having good protection will change your whole family and for future too.
Oh, 100,000%. And I think this other thing, my parents never talked to me about insurance.
No, it's generational. It's, but did your parents talk about who they were voting for either?
No.
No, it was taboo.
Yeah.
I'll never forget asking my mom, and she says, oh, that's private. You don't talk about that. So it's like, okay, so we don't talk about money. We don't talk about insurance. We don't talk about government. Like,
yeah. What do we talk about?
What do we talk about? So luckily, my generation, our generation, we talk to our kids about a lot. And I think we're gonna change things.
I hope so.
I mean, that's the goal.
That's the goal. I hope so. Because you're right. No one, people will say, well, who talked to you about, even opening a business, right? Like, to me, I didn't realize, I never thought in my 20s or 30s that I would be opening my own business and running my own teams and doing all these things. Like that never was in my, because I thought about, I never won the risk. I didn't want the risk at that point. which I should have at that point. That was when you should take the risk.
Because you don't have anything to
You don't have anything
lose.
to lose. Yeah. Do it when you're young. You have nothing to lose. That's
Yeah.
what I tell my kids now. You know, my son's 20. I have a 20-year-old and 13-year-old. So 20, I'm like, do it now. Like,
Yeah.
because you have very little responsibility.
Mhm.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Before you become an adult.
Right.
You know, I know you're 20 and technically you're an adult, but you're not
No.
an adult.
You're a man child.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's just like all right, so just do this thing, right? Live your life, do your stuff. But here's where the future comes in. And I think that's where, to your point, where we're changing this a little bit.
Yeah.
How can we teach them more about this stuff? I think learning about taxes in school, and I think learning about how to balance a budget, even if it's $200 a month. How do I balance $200 a month? How do I figure that out? And
they have a personal finance. So my kids go to Chippewa Valley schools. Last year, it was an elective. By next year, it's a required class. It's a personal finance class. So my daughter was in the first year that they just did it. And they take a paycheck. They learn what your Social Security going to be. They learn checkbooks. They learn all kinds of stuff.
Is this the Facebook post I saw where you became an example in the classroom?
No, that was at Macomb Community College. I don't even know the professor.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's even better.
Oh, it literally was a game changer.
Yeah.
I don't know any of those people.
So tell me what the background on that. Because
Yeah.
I saw it, and what was the background on that?
Yeah. So my daughter is a first-year student over at Macomb.
Okay.
Her friend is a first-year student over at Macomb in an entrepreneurship class. Her friend takes a picture and says, "You're not going to believe who they're using as an example as a local business leader. And here's my entire profile up on the screen for the whole class." I don't even know the professor. I looked at their name in my database thinking it's got to be a client.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's just cool.
Yeah. Like, you want to talk about advertising one, but that's just got to feel cool.
I mean, I have a commercial that plays at every movie theater, every movie at
I've
MJR.
seen the commercial. Yeah.
That doesn't even hold a candle to how cool that was. Because that was purposeful. This was just like
organic.
Yeah. So cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And let's just touch on the fact that you said that Macomb's got an entrepreneur class.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yes.
Because again, I talk about this with real estate agents all the time, because we're one of the groups that, insurance, you have to have different licenses and all the things, and people don't know what goes into that part.
Right.
That's a whole nother thing. But like with real estate agents, we take a 40-hour course here in Michigan. We pass it, and they hand us a business. It's a license, but they just gave you a business.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to run it, but I don't know how to run a business. I don't know how to run a business.
Yeah.
When I got into real estate, how I got into the real estate game was I got hired by a company in Royal Oak and to be a productivity coach. I didn't have a real estate license, but they knew I could come in and coach their agents. So they hired me, and then they paid for my licensing. Because that's how I got into real estate. I was in mortgages before that. So I started at Quicken. But they hired me as a productivity coach, paid for my licensing, and got me licensed because they needed me to be licensed to be a productivity coach.
Right.
But they knew I could come in and coach agents. That's literally how I got started in this business. Because again, no one knows how to run a profit and loss statement. No one knows how to schedule their time, what they should be doing every day. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going to go golf today.
I'm going to be fully honest. When I opened my agency, I knew insurance. I did not know how to run a business.
Right.
I quickly signed a lease, learned how to buy phone systems, learned how to get the internet. Then I started hiring people. I didn't know how to do that, but then I did. Wrote a handbook. I have now a 4% 401k match that I give to all my staff. I have a health insurance plan. Like, I am adulting as an entrepreneur to like the fullest. I knew absolutely nothing when I first started, but that is the power of your circle. I learned so much from shadowing and asking the right questions of other local entrepreneurs. And that really helped me find my footing.
Yeah, and it is your circle of influence.
Yeah,
right?
You are your closest 10 people.
You are, and if I just did this at Build last month. I did a presentation on this. It was like, people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Mm-hmm. And we always know the reason. There's always a reason that someone's there. And whether that's good or bad, that's part of the season, right? Because seasons come and go. But you're right. And again, the more that, and that's, I think that's where entrepreneurs who are doing well, like yourself, become such a beacon, because now you want to give away, now you want to give that back.
Yes.
Right. Now you want to find the next Denise, right? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the next Jimmy. Who can I bring along with us? Like, hey, this is a really cool ride. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So I am currently I have 5 new female agents that I'm their mentor. So that's
Awesome.
really cool. I mean, I think that the leadership, I really didn't know that I was going to love leadership like I do. And that really shines in my office with my team. That level of leadership and connection with a bunch of people that are all moving towards the same goal. I mean, it's just unprecedented wonderfulness, if that's even a word.
It is now.
Yeah.
Would this be on a t-shirt?
I mean,
idea?
listen, we're gonna put it on the back.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have our Breakfast Club line on too, and I don't know if you guys got questions or not, but if you're on the Breakfast Club line and you press ***, you'll unmute yourself and you can ask a question. I'm paying attention to you over here, but yeah. So I think again, it's super important that real estate agents understand and have this idea of how important insurance is. So I was super excited to get you on today because I want to push this out in front of real estate agents. This is another piece of what we should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And this, again, it kind of goes back to this whole NAR thing when people are like, well, agents, you guys are overpaid and this, that. Do you know how much it falls on us, as a real estate agent? Now, not all of us do the same thing at the highest level. I get it. But at the same point, not, one piece of rotten fruit it can spoil the whole bunch. But I think that was important to get you on because real estate agents, I don't think understand the importance of the insurance.
Yeah, we're just this massive, sometimes often untapped resource. And, there's a lot of malpractice in every industry, especially mine. I feel like, because I see it. It's not especially mine. I get to see it.
Same thing with us, right? Like, right. I see it in us, and I think the same thing. So
yeah.
It's nothing.
So I think when you can find really good people that you can trust, that do that high level of work with benevolence, you have to hold on to them. Yep. And work with each other. I mean, work smarter, not harder. There's power in numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know, our mutual friend, Kim Ashme, does so much stuff and so much give back and her ditch the heels. And
I love that.
I mean, like her, and I'm always a big supporter of
Kim's wonderful.
Again, it's your circle.
It is.
Right. It's your circle. And I've been super blessed in this business to be around the people that I've been able to be around and learn not only things that I wanted to do, but some things I didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
There was ways that I knew I wanted to build and grow and develop teams and companies and whatever else, but how I wanted to do that certain ways and finding those people that wanted to do it the same way and figuring out things again that I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Is important. And I think entrepreneurs miss that sometimes because you've learned a lot about things that you didn't want to do.
Yes.
And just avoided that altogether.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, you have to scrape your knees. You have to fall and scrape your knees. It just has to be controllable. And then you have to be pivotable. You have to know how to pivot so that you can stay on top and ask for help.
Oh,
ask for help.
Ask for help.
Don't get to a place where you're too far gone. I don't care what it is. Ask for help.
Yeah. Ask for help. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yep.
I again, in front of a lot of agents, a lot of times, and I'll tell them, I can help you with your transactions. I can help step in, but I can help early. The later you get me involved in it,
proactive,
the harder
instead
it
of reactive.
is. Yeah, the harder it is. Like the closer we get to closing day, the harder it is for me to fix stuff. Mm-hmm. And I know I talk to Nick Coppola, our state broker here in Michigan, all the time. He says the same thing. Reach out to me early. None of us are perfect.
Yeah.
We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fumble the football. We're going to drop stuff. It's okay. Just reach out to those people around you early and figure this out.
Yeah.
Right. Because we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to get bumps and bruises. That's what entrepreneurship is. Yes. You're
building the plane on the way down, they say, right? That's a t-shirt.
On the way up.
On the way up.
Maybe.
Oh, Yeah,
don't know.
maybe. I don't know.
We're building it as we're flying it.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, not on the way down. That
Yeah.
would be-
On the way down would be bad.
yeah. Sometimes it is.
Would it be covered?
It all depends.
All depends on how much the plane is built yet.
Yeah.
And as long
Were
as
there bees?
yeah, were there bees in it? If there's bees in it, no, it is not covered. Yeah, it is not covered. Yeah. So, and again, real estate agents, this is another reach out piece for you. Because our clients think we know everything anyway, right?
They sure do. They really do hold you to a high level.
They do. And
yes.
Do you have a plumber? Do you have an electrician? Do you have this? Do you have that? A duct cleaning company? Do you have carpet cleaning company? Do you have? So that's why I'm always big on a vendor list. And I think the vendor list needs to include insurance. And I'm always big for getting partners in this business.
Yeah.
And partners that will support your business, help you out with your business, help you strive in your business, but also bring that level of client service that you expect, right? And I'm not always been big on you can't expect yourself and others. I kind of do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to provide this high level of client service to my clients, I expect who I'm partnered with to do the same.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And if you can't, maybe we're not partners.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably take about 15 calls a month, at least every other day, from someone just asking a pure question about flood, real estate agents about flood, conditions of roof. That's the big one. I just did a whole talk at one of my real estate brokerages about conditions, about how you can help your client find a house and get an offer accepted, and you can get a mortgage on it. But if you cannot get it insured, you're not closing. And there's been some condition issues that have kept people from being able to close. And real estate agents need to know how to negotiate structural issues or roof things or other kinds of things that could be a potential coverage issue. They need to know how to potentially use that as leverage in the negotiating of the sale, because if we can't get it insured, we cannot close.
Look, I don't think we know that enough.
Or they'll go on to the client, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, go on to progressive.com. They buy themselves a home insurance policy because the lender's begging for it. Nobody's talked about insurance besides the lender said it once. 30 days after they close, that they come out and take pictures, they get a non-renewal. Your client, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that just spent all their money, has a 30-day non-renewal for their insurance. Now they have a non-renewal for their insurance because of the condition of the roof. Now, when they go to any other insurance company, one of the questions on the app we ask is, are you being non-renewed due to condition? You say no, it's insurance fraud. It's a felony. If you say yes, we're like, well, we don't want somebody else's bad business. What's the deal? Now, Mr. and Mrs. Client, oh, you don't have 3 years or 2 years or a year left of life on your roof, says the inspector. You have 3 months to get a new roof, or you're going to the Michigan placement facility or getting forced place insurance, and neither one of those are pretty and neither one of them are good for you. That happens often. So have a conversation with your client so that that doesn't happen, because I'm going to tell you what, they might say to you, hey, did you not recognize that this might have been an issue?
Right.
And you go, shoot, probably not shoot.
I don't know.
And I'm not saying that you have to go out and be an underwriter, a home insurance underwriter. That's not it. But my job is to fuel agents with knowledge so that they can recognize potential issues so they can use that to their advantage during the negotiating. Because if you cannot get insurance on the property, you are not closing the property.
Look, and again, that would be, think about going to closing day and like, guess what? You're not closing because it's like we can't insure the house, right? And again, agents, I'm not telling you to know this, I want to just double down on that piece. We're not telling you that you should know how to underwrite and be an insurance underwriter for this house. Just like I tell you the same thing on the mortgage side. You don't have to be the underwriter for the mortgage either. You don't have to know everything about the mortgage. But what I'm telling you is leverage the people around you, leverage the folks that are the pros at this, right? The realtors, leverage your mortgage person, leverage your insurance person. Because I say the same thing about inspectors. real estate agents will start pointing stuff out in the house. I'm like, whoa. Let the inspector handle. Like, that's not your gig.
Yeah.
I get it if you see if it's egregious, right? Like,
Right.
get it. But at the same point, don't let your client and your inspector figure that you're not the pro in that at that point.
Yeah.
When too many times as real estate agents, we start to think we are that, and it gets in the way because then it takes away from something, right? It takes away from my service on something because I'm thinking about too many different things. So tap in your real estate person, tap in your insurance person, tap in your mortgage person, but your insurance person first and foremost.
I mean, you make a team. Make a team of pros. Your client will be forever. You will be elevated and your client will be elevated.
Yeah, most definitely. So Denise, thank you for joining me today. Our hour goes by quick, doesn't it?
It was fun. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
So tell everybody where they can find you and get some insurance from you.
Okay, awesome. So we service the entire state of Michigan, home, auto, life, and commercial. My office line is 586-522-4427.
Love it. Thank you very much for joining me today and coming on and teaching us a little bit about insurance and bees. Well, guys, thanks again for joining me on the Elite Real Estate Podcast. We are here live every Friday, and you can find us where you find podcasts, but on YouTube channels and social medias everywhere. We will see you all next Friday.